We were like 5 seconds away from a real embarrassing hot mic incident with one of my kids. So you guys we'll still hold this up. There still could be some embarrassing moments. I had to yell. I don't know if you saw me on the thing. I had to yell going, "We're on live!"
And live. That's how you know that these shows are live. I have Sarah, Paranormal Sarah, found something bothering me on my face. So I'm going to have to, if you're not enduring the video, you're in good spaces. You guys, we're not going to have a moment like that. I don't know, though. Maybe we will. We've got strange astrology. We've got weird things happening. What's new? Astrology and Alchemy with Paranormal Sarah and Matthew Slozier here every Tuesday, late night, 9 p.m., and then listening wherever you're listening from, whatever you're listening at. What's really exciting is starting tomorrow morning, you're going to be able to find us on Odyssey. So it'll be able to be downloaded from whether it's like iHeart or whatever you're listening to your apps on. You don't have to go back to the YouTube to watch it unless you want to see our beautiful faces, in which case we'll still be there. But that's really exciting because I think astrology, it's like as many stars as there in the sky. We like to have those listeners joining us because you guys give us so many fun perspectives. Like right now, Brianna, Autumn, we've got all kinds of people joining us from all parts of the world.
I guess it's not like a radio face anymore. I guess now it'd have to be like I don't know if I have a podcast voice, but I guess I have a podcast face, not a. Right. You don't have a YouTube face, Matt. You have a podcast face.
You have a podcast face. Yeah, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I think we're moving right in from the radio voice to face filters that are just going to smush us into a digital. We don't have to worry about our look soon. We're all going to be quantum meta cool.
I'm a shape-shifting reptilian drinking blood, which triggered somebody on my Sunday night show anyway. So
that was last week. Let's not start off that strong. I don't know. It's March. It's March 1st.
I messaged you earlier, so just so you guys all know, and I turned it off because of the bandwidth thing, but I'm like fully expecting like the State of the Union to get interrupted by something like really, really big in Ukraine, like a nuke or something. But yeah, I made a curse Russia joke on this show last week and triggered somebody. I had an ongoing joke from Sunday Night Dead over. They asked me how old I was, and I said 84. I drink wine. I said, "Is this really wine?" So I referenced that on Sunday and triggered somebody over adrenochrome. So I'm just have this like track record. So now that we're on Odyssey, I'll probably like trigger even more people with some.
Do it. If you're triggered, we don't care. Be triggered. We don't care. We don't care. What? If Lady Gaga can do it, anyone can do it.
I moved on from like trying to curse. I am actually trying to curse Putin, which I was very intrigued by. I shared you the article I saw in the Daily Mail. They did an article
not specifically Putin, something specific.
Yes, I'm being very specific. I'm using chaos magic to curse specific uncomfortable organs on Putin. And it said that Putin is looking very bloated and ashen. And I'm like, wow, maybe it's working. And some of my friends know this. I'm like, maybe it's working.
It's working. The evil. I can feel it. It's growing.
I've actually added kidney stones to this now too. So that's the added.
Gosh. What is it with kidney stones?
I'm just like I'm up in the ante. I'm like sending them kidney stones and blockages. And
are you sending evil kidney stones? Don't do that.
I'm like a chaos. There's no white or dark in chaos. It just is. There's no rules.
Dancing naked in the gray. You just dance.
You just do what you want.
Do what you want. That's another show.
Yeah.
That's after hours show. Let's stay focused, guys, because here on Astrology and Alchemy, we want to give you the tools. We want to give you the ability to get those journals out, get the piece of paper out. If you're still using that sort of ancient knowledge and resources, pencil into the papier, and journal your predictions, your spaces with how you feel the planets might be influencing. Because, guys, we have been, knock on wood, pretty darn accurate, relevant, and quite interesting. Helpful. Meh. Interesting. So, without further ado, we knew what was happening today. The moon, subtly in its last few little slivers of a fingernail, into the nothing, into the ether, into the darkness, and Tomorrow, of course, being the big shift, but today was that last little bit of a waning moon in Pisces, the moon shifting in Pisces. And we talked last week what that meant. But tomorrow, bright and early, it'll be March 2nd. It'll be March 2nd. All the things that March holds, Pi Day, the Ides of March, Ash Wednesday, that'll be tomorrow. Today, that was Fat Tuesday, that was today. Tomorrow will be March 2nd. And when that sun rises, two things happen. One, two, three. Three things happen that are quite unique, quite specific. We got to talk about it. So, Matt, the first thing, the big thing, the thing that I think all the witches run into the dollar store getting their candles, the new moon, brand spanking new, tabula rosa in Pisces. What does it mean?
New moon in Pisces?
New moon in Pisces.
All right. So this is really interesting because with what's going on the world stage, I think this sets up a whole lunar cycle. And I said before that Pisces is like, I'm actually kind of sad about this because Pisces is kind of that deathbed perspective. It's the last sign. There's a martyr energy to it. There's my time is done here. What can I do for the greater good type introspection type thing to it. So with what I see kind of going on and what's going on with Kiev, I see kind of the great kind of sacrificial kind of stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like there's some major like sacrificial news that goes on tomorrow, like maybe bad news with like the president there and stuff. I'm really hoping I'm wrong because I will fully admit my bias, as I put in the chat. I'm like 1,000% of a Putin hater. I know there's some people that actually like admire the guy. I hate the guy's freaking guts. As I said, I'm sending spells to try to.
You do not like the Putin.
Try to swell uncomfortable organs to the size of beach balls to like totally. And I would, if I could chaos magic assassinate him, I would.
No, don't say the words. Say the words, not. Yes. Don't say them.
I loathe the man. Well, I view him the same as Hitler. So that all being said, I'd be very sad about this, but I see like a huge sacrificial energy starting. So I just think it's going to be really bad. Like I think evil wins. I think there's going to be like really bad news in the news, and like this is just going to start a very sacrificial, take one for the team energy. And again, there's I always say this, and I know we have a new audience here. There's the macro and the micro. So like the world scale sacrificial, but also on the smaller scale, you'll see this on like smaller level with people kind of willing to take one for the team on small stuff.
What are you destroying? That new moon, I think of the old tales of being dragged around by my nanny Connie, who would take me to the powwow spot. And usually in a moon cycle, it is the space of talking about the creatures in nature, reclusing, solitude versus loneliness, isolation, how you feel that, how you're using that through a Pisces filter, which is emotional, is influential. It's a wave. And with that, it's a lot of things that you're not going to see. A darkness, dark water, emotions. How are you going to use that? A lot of creatures, man, they're not going to wade out into that. Not dark water. No. But if you know better, or you have to, or you're not thinking, or you don't care, that new moon might be the beginning into a new darkness. What is it going to mean? What is it going to be for you, micro, and for the world, for your state, for your community, the macro spaces? How is it going to ripple out?
Yeah, this is less self and more kind of communal kind of energy tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Well, this whole cycle. So this is like the whole lunar cycle. So this is like the next month. This will be kind of a theme. You'll see. Which is why I kind of feel bad. I think this is going to be kind of on a macro scale kind of bad because this is like, we're not talking one day for this one. We're talking kind of a month process.
Yeah. It's not that it's too long, but it's kind of, whatever the sacrifice is, that's kind of a long time to have one, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it may not feel very good, depending on what you are putting yourself through. What does that mean? Think about it. Like right now, put that down in your space. Consider what it means in our own meditative space. People are strange. There's always a Morrison space here. And I also think of Weird Al Yankovic. Yankovic. Weird Al. I love that man. And that there's like a parody
He is awesome.
happening. He's so cool. And I
He
feel
is
that for
awesome.
the new moon tomorrow. So for all of you doing that, creation. What is creation and destruction? The neurolinguistic programming would be permission and consent. If somebody can take something from you, did you ever really have it? What is yours? What are you giving? Who's your superior? Lots of really, really deep questions that can keep us from overfeeling and overdoing. But it's not the only thing that happens tomorrow on Hump Day. Not just us premiering on Odyssey, but a few other really cool things. My No Man's Land show, which is going to be fantastic. But an astrological thing. So the moon happening over here, new moon in Pisces. Then you have the sun in Pisces. Sextile, you know what that means. Uranus and Taurus. But what does that mean?
All right. Well, sextiles remove obstacles. Taurus and Uranus. This is always a weird one because Uranus is kind of the rebel, the curveball outside the box. But Taurus is stable and indulgent. So I always say this is kind of the weird way of looking at it. It's rebelling by not doing. So it's, kind of, it's almost like a passive aggressive rebellion. I'm going to not do my diet. I'm going to sit on my butt and indulge kind of thing. And so if we got the sun, this is a weird one. So if you got the sun, your outer self in this kind of introspective, artsy, take one for the team, kind of communal space, eliminating obstacles to be rebellious in a stable and indulgent way. So I see this as, I'm sorry, I'm kind of cognitively laying this out. I see this as taking one for the team to create change and rebel by not doing what society might expect you to do. So I could see some people maybe refusing to do things that they would normally do under normal circumstances. So I would look for tomorrow possibility of people just saying no to things they normally do.
Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't do this.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it tonight.
A weird change through refusal. Being true to self. Embracing your quirks and quantas and weird little things. Stepping outside of the comfort zone. The song very much I think of The Who. But when I think of The Who, I think of addicts, crazy, the drummer, Mr. Moon, and like just wild energy that how in the hell did that even happen? And create such amazing things and doing this theatric show of a thing with the pinball wizard, right? And then eventually being known because they sold themselves to the CSI theme show. Who are you? And so this like mix of emotions that I have with that. That's kind of that Uranus and Taurus.
Like when you see like a really cool band when you were a kid, now like having like commercial, like being played in the background of like a commercial for something, particularly something designed for like old people.
Boyz II Men. It was Boyz II Men, and I think it was like Pepto-Bismol. And I swear my heart just like, it was one of those like, no, because they were like, it's the end of the road for upset stomach, diarrhea. And I was like, no, don't do this to me. Not to my 90s heart. It just died. It gave me heartburn. I immediately wanted to go buy Pepto-Bismol. So it worked. Anyway, that's tomorrow. Be ready for that. Just going to hit you out of nowhere.
It's really bad when you hear really cool songs from like your teen years now played as like Muzak in like grocery stores and stuff. It's like really bad.
Worst. It's the worst. And it is because like the thong song is now like classical elevator music where it's like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun. And I'm like, is this playing as I'm going to a job interview? What's happening? Anyway, that's life now because we are living in a world war and a pandemic and who knows what else. But one more thing is going to happen tomorrow that's going to give us some guidance. Now,
I'm going to totally sidebar and screw you up here, but I got to say, this is a real discussion I had today. We actually started having discussions about some of our project things and saying, well, if we actually get nuked, we're not going to have to worry about these these are actually like real discussions I'm starting to have now of, do I really need to worry about this project yet? Because if we get nuked, we're not going to have to worry about it. So maybe I can push this off for 3 days.
Basement instead of the roof. Yeah. These are real talk. We're there. That's a real thing. That's maturity.
Yeah, I know. It's just.
It's real. I don't know. Is it? Okay. But wise, right? I do that when I grocery shop now. I'm like, if we had it wouldn't matter. Anyway, okay. Mercury in Aquarius conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. What does it mean? What does it mean?
What day are we at? Thursday? We're still on Wednesday.
This is Wednesday.
We're still on Wednesday? Holy crap. All right. So Aquarius is the rebel, kind of outside the box, innovative. Mercury is thoughts and communication. And Saturn is kind of killjoy rules. Think of the rings as kind of restrictions. So I always view Aquarius and Saturn as the time to change the rules. So this is a really kind of interesting combination here. Conjunct is combining. So you're combining the energy here. So you're combining thoughts and communication with rules in this rebellious, innovative, out-of-the-box ability to change the rules. So I see this as a very kind of rebellious, tumultuous ability to change things. So I see this as a lot of change energy, which is really interesting given the other things we've already talked about tomorrow. So you got this whole like martyr, take one for the team, combined with the rules are all going to change, big changes. So I see tomorrow's going to be a pretty chaotic day, in my opinion, on the macro and the micro.
Post, recycle. I'm going to bring in that new moon space, knowing that going to be some rule breaking and hot breaking. What's that song? What song is that?
Heartbreaker, Pat Benatar.
Heartbreaker. There it is. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not all the way here today. I've been working like 9 hours and I have not had near enough coffee. But Heartbreaker. Yeah. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be
a heavy news cycle. I predict. I don't know what the specifics are going to be. All I will predict is it's going to be a really heavy news cycle day tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of crap breaking tomorrow. A lot of stories.
Breaking live. Yeah. Oh no! What was that? It was probably on The Simpsons, by the way. If you haven't watched some of that ridiculousness, you should check that out. But you may not have time.
Writer, also a chaos magician. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. If you're listening, you can't hear the wink, but I'm winking. He's a time traveling reptilian. Anyway, that brings us to Thursday, March 3rd. March 3rd, almost Friday. Thank God we're going to be there soon. I can see it. I can taste it. But not yet. It'll be Thursday, my favorite day, ruled by Jupiter, and also Thor, that beautiful muscular man, one of those brothers, the Hemsworth brothers. And Thursday, March 3rd, the first thing that happens is Mars enters what? Mars in Capricorn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn.
This is a shitty week.
Hey, let's be positive about this.
All right. Well,
Mars is in Capricorn.
I'll start it positive. So again, conjunct is combined. Capricorn is achievement. So it's getting things done. So that's good. Mars is aggression, kind of that the stereotypical male. It's getting things done. It's achieved. So also in Capricorn. So we're getting stuff done. Pluto is that profound, impersonal, major transformational change. impersonal. Pluto's the farthest one out. Pluto doesn't give a crap. So again, after a very heavy day on Wednesday, I'm thinking Thursday there is going to be huge changes, big achievements. That doesn't necessarily mean good or bad, just achievements for somebody. That's going to be big, big transformational changes. So coming out of the chaos on Thursday, big changes in the landscape, or Wednesday, big changes in the landscape on Thursday. So the big news cycle continues on Thursday.
Man.
But again, micro and macro. So if you're working on some big project or something, you have some big initiative, you got some good tailwinds here. So I would push to get some stuff done on Thursday because you're going to have good tailwinds to get crap done. If you're trying to change your own personal game, Thursday is the day to try to do it.
I'm struggling with some of the synchronicities that I see in this because I got a new sweater at the thrift store and I love it so much. It is a Fallout Boy, which I'm not a big fan of Fallout Boy actually, but one of my sons is. And so I just like it because it's got a big old snake on the front and it's red and it's black and it's gray and it's really cool. It's like an old sweater, like something that Kelly from Saved by the Bell would wear. And I put Fallout Boy in my meditation for this, and you had said one of their things is the Conqueror and Century, Fall Century, and the Phoenix, and all these different songs. And you said all of those words, like transformational, and like this kind of like I imagine like this rising of the Phoenix coming out of chaos. But then I also think of like Salt and Pepper's Push It, like push it, because there's gonna be some of that. There's gonna be some of that vibe. There's gonna be just like a cat, like how a cat does that, like gonna push the glass off of the end of the thing. Like you see it, they see you seeing it, and you're like, don't do it. And they're like, watch me do it. And they do it anyway.
Yeah.
That, I feel like that's gonna happen. It's very cat-like, gonna do it, bite your ankle in the night anyway, don't give a shit energy. And that's happening. But something else is happening. 2 more things are happening all on Thursday. So we have that Mars, that passionate, intense, but also productive. Let's be productive. The next thing is that the moon moves into Aries.
Okay. So just on its own, just moving
Just
Aries.
the moon is
Okay.
now a small fingernail of power in the sky, waxing into Aries. What does that mean?
So we'll be talking about this a lot because we're getting into Aries season. So Aries is the first sign. So whereas I talked about that deathbed perspective and martyrdom kind of, my time is done here from Pisces, Aries is the exact opposite. So I always say, think of like a teenager whose whole universe and timeline is like a week long, or 2 days is like a universe for them. There is no long-term plan. It is all impulsive, short-term, very quick. So things aren't very well thought through. There isn't a very long plan. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying they're not smart. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's quick, impulsive, very short-term focus. So you're going to have emotions doing things very, very quickly. This is a little disturbing to me coming out of what we just said about Wednesday and the beginning part of Thursday of all this chaos and big transformational change, particularly on the big world stage. I don't know which direction it'll go, but I think, whatever's happening in Europe is going to look a lot different 48 hours from now than it is now. It's going to shift one way or the other big time. Possibly even like Russia with its economy is going to shift like really big. Like I think the whole game changes big time in the next 48 hours. But now we get this shift towards people being much more impulsive emotionally. So somebody, my big nightmare is somebody being like, just F it, let's just start sending off bombs or something. It's just, but on the micro scale too, people will be much more
crazy.
Impulsive emotions is moon in Aries. So just be aware of that. What I always tell on people personally is give people a lot of grace, give people a lot of space, breathe, count to 10 before you respond. Just realize that people are going to be maybe a little bit short and quicker with their responses and stuff, because there's just going to be a lot of impulsive reactions out there, a lot more than usual.
I like that. Grace and space. It's a nice reminder, because again, this is how do we use these energies and what to expect. And, I work in social work. I work specifically with people like with anger management issues. Is this a day that I want to go in and take a moment to be like, you know what? I think I want to challenge them and like poke the bear and see what they do.
Don't poke the bear.
Not today, not Thursday, not Wednesday either.
Not
It would
Wednesday.
not be this week so far. But one more thing is happening on Thursday.
You know, last week was really mellow and we were done by this time last week.
I know. That's how the world works. Up and down, up and down. Now, on the 3rd, the last thing, but this is interesting because we had Mars in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. Now it's Pluto in Capricorn conjunct Venus in Capricorn.
Cue the Barry White, as I always say. So this is achievement again because it's in Capricorn and conjunct is combined. So this can also be financial, but let's face it. Now I guess some people like to talk money, but it's more fun to talk romance than money. So so romantic achievement, and Pluto is big, profound, transformational change. So I would say big movements in either financial things. Look to what happens in Russia with sanctions and things. Their market could collapse Thursday. But also on the romantic side, this could be big romance things. So even look like celebrity. These are big, look for engagements, look for divorces, look for, that this is just big. And since it is Pluto, it is like, we're talking big stuff. We're not just, so-and-so and so is dating. This is, marriage, divorce, big, profound kind of romantic relationship type stuff.
Trying to think of the song that comes to my mind. And even though it's like big things, I think maybe it's the juxtaposition of the song itself mixed with the themes of the movie being very big themes at a big time and then trying to be funny, which was Steve Martin's and is Steve Martin's way. But the jerk, when the I know, you know, so she pulls out, he's doing his little ukulele and she pulls out, was it like a horn? Like a French horn, I think. It's going to be a passionate, powerful, maybe even romantic. When I think of bonds, man, I think we're talking like those NATO things, those agreements. This is a day of agreement, long-term agreement, major arcana stuff, prenuptial stuff.
There'll be a big, it might get overshadowed because of all the stuff going on in the world, but there will be either a big, so we always like to do the predictions. There will be either a major kind of engagement or, relationship announcement or a major split announcement on Thursday.
Who's it going to be? Take that moment right now in your mind. Who's it going to be? I'm writing who I think it's going to be. Who's it going to be?
As crazy as this sounds, and this is going to be crazy, but, we've done this enough times, Sarah, that I'm like, I should have said it because I had it and it popped into my head. And it's so, I'm coming up with like royal family.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Like Prince Harry, leaves Meghan Markle. Like that's the thing that
imagine. Can you
even
imagine?
Prince Harry leaves Meghan Markle. That's the thing.
Because the Queen says, if you want to do that, you better get your shit back together and get your ass here to the kingdom, young sir. And he goes, yes, ma'am. And he comes over because she snarls in that little, because she's doing weird stuff. Yes. I mean, right?
That's the one that popped in. I think it's really unlikely, but that's the one that popped into my head. And we've had this happen before where weird ones popped into my head and I kept my mouth shut and it ended up happening. So I'll say it.
Don't keep your mouth shut when it comes to psychic intuition. You've got to sound crazy for it to be somewhat accurate, I think.
That's my thing.
Man. Okay. Well, take a breather, everybody, because we're going to wake up on Friday after all that happens and the King of the Throne and all that stuff goes down. And nothing's happening on Friday. At least nothing in the major planets. There might be an asteroid or something coming. We don't know. Doesn't really say. But that's a good breather after having a really crazy Wednesday and Thursday. Day of rest, Friday. Got it. Write it down. Now, then that moves us into Saturday. Saturday, things start to happen. So let's do it. Let's
Oh,
move
nothing
right
happened
on
Friday?
into it. Nothing.
Nothing's on Friday.
Nope.
Nice.
Things just hanging. It might be the end of the
There's gonna be
world.
so much rubble on the ground. We need time to clean up.
Everybody, we just ceasefire for a day, please. We just need to shit our pants in peace.
I'm envisioning like World War I when it was Christmas, when they all like kind of came out and like had a turkey and like
Time out. For real, though.
no
Like,
mas, no mas.
sometimes you got to do that. Okay, so Saturday, we wake up and we're like, okay, I made it. Okay, I made it. Friday was not. Okay, what's happening? What's happening? Well, on the 5th, this will be March 5th, guys. Remember, we're already into March 2022. The sun and Pisces still, emotional, conjunct my face. If you saw it, you can't hear it in the radio, but maybe you felt it. Jupiter and Pisces. Jupiter, Chris Farley, give me more, give me more. And Pisces, what? We don't need any more of that. What does it mean?
So I always say Jupiter is the car, it's opportunity. So, opportunity knocks. So it's the car pulling up, the door swinging open, and say, hop on in. And the destination is the sign. And so this sign is martyrdom or, perspective, take one for the team. Man, this is, I view this as, since there's kind of like a selflessness, but also this like introspection and big picture to Pisces. I almost view this as kind of like an activism thing. So what I'm seeing, whatever ends up happening Wednesday and Thursday, and this probably isn't like really going far out on a limb based on what's going on in the world, I see Saturday as like a massive like activism and like protest day. And that's going to be like the big thing in the news. But there's going to be a lot of activism type stuff. Again, macro, micro, there'll probably be, this will be like where they'll be like hear people doing volunteer opportunities, we're going to go ahead and like collect for a homeless shelter but it's going to be that kind of stuff. It's going to be energy towards serving your fellow human being. But on the macro, you're going to see that there'll be like some kind of demonstrations on like a massive scale on Saturday.
Yeah. Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a big stretch because I think there would have been anyway. But I mean, now seeing this energy, I think it's just going to be like protests or demonstrations. I shouldn't say protests, but demonstrations on like steroids on Saturday.
What I thought was interesting is what I wrote down. I had put down, consider the flags or tattoos that you have on your body or would have on your body. What is your motto? What is your mark? And a really strange, weird little thing that I have in my research space, it came across my desk yesterday, is the Primal Scream, which is kind of an interesting thing. What is that in relation to? I forget. The Primal Scream. Anyway, this is
wasn't that like a psych thing? People like yell at each other or just yell or something. That's before my time, but I thought
it is.
Cool.
It's both like, well, a rock band had talked about it, and they were like a UK.
Tears for Fears.
And then Tears for
Fears was they were the whole thing on that. Yeah.
Yes, and man, going down that wormhole is really and like what it can do or what it like. Anyway, so I had put that down in like a research space for that day. So give or take, how you feel like that might mean Jupiter and Pisces. But then the next day, oh no, the next day, Sunday, bloody Sunday. How many things are happening on that day? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things happened that day. But let's just say it in 3 easy steps.
I can't remember if we ever had 4.
No, it doesn't happen that often.
Wow.
Right? So I'm going to try and say it in one block so it doesn't seem like so much. So the first is Venus is moving into Aquarius.
All right.
So Venus enters Aquarius and it's conjunct Mars in Aquarius.
When did Mars move into Aquarius?
That day, they both are moving
both move into
and
Aquarius.
are conjunct.
Dang. So again, you got the whole Venus-Mars thing. So you got the whole, yin-yang, male, female, sexual, like you got all the different combos energy-wise, and it's all moving from achievement, but kind of cold and personal, to this out-of-the-box, rebellious, innovative, honestly kind of get your freak flag on kind of. So this is just, is it early on a Sunday? Could this be like Saturday night energy? Like that, this just could be, this is just weird. I don't even know the best way to describe this. This is just going to be, I view this as out of the box, kind of freaky sexual energy on Sunday. So just be aware of it.
Just be aware that things are freaky deaky sex world.
It would be a good day. It would be a good day if you run some kind of like off the wall like sex shop or something. This would be a good. Well, I don't know how well they do business on Saturday night into Sunday, but this would be a good day for business.
Okay. Some of the suggestions: being open to meeting new people. Widening your social circle with all the distancing and masks being lifted. Connect with others in new ways.
Yeah.
Be unconventional. Buy a swing. Dangle from the ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
You're just saying it in nicer ways than I was saying it. So.
Well, we're both saying the same thing, though. So those ritual suggestions or that shadow work, different strokes or different folks, but know your folks and know your strokes and know which one not to do, because you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you shouldn't pick your friend's nose. Do you know what I mean?
You were the one who shared this story with me that I hadn't known about before. So I'll just say, beware of invites on Sunday from another couple that's got a pineapple on their porch. It's that kind of stuff.
Beware. They exist, and their pineapples aren't always presently in the visual spectrum. Just saying. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird day. I have my text being like black and white that day. It's like, ooh, free your mind and the rest will follow. Remember that? That was in Vogue. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel. It's Mars in Aquarius, specifically for someone was in that chat room.
Oh, you're breaking up. It's all those Russian hackers. She's breaking up, so we'll wait for her to come back.
Allowed. And
no, we're still waiting.
Can you hear me, Houston?
Yeah, it's good now.
Really? What did I say?
I don't know.
I wasn't allowed to talk about that, apparently. Someone in the chat asked about Mars entering Aquarius. What do you say specifically about Mars entering Aquarius?
Well, Mars is action, and so I always view Mars as kind of like that yang activity. So it's the kind of more extroverted energy, the outward energy. And so when you put that in that, I view Aquarius as outside the box, so it's innovative. So sometimes I'll say rebellious, but I just always say it's like unconventional. So it's new, it's inventive, innovative, entrepreneurial. So this is really good energy for doing things differently. So, if you work in something that requires, I'm going to say creativity, but it's not really artsy creativity. It's more kind of new ideas, new ways of doing things. You'll have a lot of that energy in your favor on Sunday. So if you have like some kind of project or something you're working on that you've just been like hitting your head against the wall, Sunday will be a good day to maybe kind of work and chew on that because the energy will be like working in your favor.
Improv. I like to think of that as improv. It'll be a great day to do things knowing that, the rules are going to either be there or they're not. And consider being a risk taker. Consider what dreams are really made of because it's not measurable always. So Aquarius tries to measure things, if you like it, then you should put a ring on it kind of things. But it's also the emotional way of talking about things. And sometimes it's, just saying it in a different way or a terrible need for sarcasm font. You have to be willing to say it in a different way, a new way. Draw it. Do a collage. One more thing's happening on Sunday. The moon enters Taurus.
Okay.
What does that mean?
It's my power sign.
Is
Remember,
it?
well, whenever your moon returns, that's supposed to be your strongest time of the month. So
You got your rising sign and your moon sign, and your moon is in Taurus.
My moon is in Taurus. So that is emotional stability. So again, Taurus is stable and indulgent. So, and moon is emotion. So you'll have kind of stable emotions, but you may also want to indulge a little more than normal. So watch out if you're trying to, like you're on a diet or you're not wanting to drink or something, you'll have a little more of that little emotional nudge for maybe some comfort food or comfort, sit down and watch Netflix or whatever that thing is. So, there's a good and a bad to it. The good is it's stable. The bad is it'll want to kind of indulge its senses. So be aware of that. But I thought you said there was 4. What's the fourth?
Well, that was because we had Venus in Aquarius conjunct Mars in Aquarius, moon entering Taurus, Mars entering Aquarius, Venus entering Aquarius.
Okay, I got you.
So we trying to kind of run around.
So I just added, since you did Mars, let's just quick do Venus in Aquarius. Then I would say kind of that yin energy, or kind of, I view that also as like relationship. So it may be just like Mars is that innovative way of looking at problems and projects. Venus, you may have some tailwinds as far as how to look at relationships. So if you've had maybe some challenging relationships or you wanted to look at a relationship in a different way, you may have some new insights as to how to approach that on Sunday. So you might want to take some time if you've had some challenging relationships to look at that as well.
Take a little time for me. Like that. Just take a little time. Take a little time for yourself. I feel like there's a song in that I'm not getting that I need. What is it? Take a little time. What's the song?
Oh,
I don't know.
Say that again. That sounds familiar, but
right? Take a little time. Take a little time. Take a little time. It'll hit me. It's going to hit me, or somebody in the chat, or you're already thinking it in your mind now. Listener, hear me now. Take a little time. Take a little time. Anyway, take a little time. Take a little time. Man, that really feels powerful. I feel like there was something I needed, a message in that. It'll come to me later. Take a little time. Right? Okay, Monday. It's going to be March 7th.
Oh, and I'm going to call out, because I know you're a Virgo, and I'll probably bug you, that that last one in there, the typo. If there's typos in the chats, even though it says Sarah Soderlin, that was me.
It is him.
Because I have my thing that moves. So I actually realized why I have so many typos, because I move it all the time. And so even though I set my hands, they're in the wrong spots. And so I hit the wrong keys and I type real fast and don't proofread. So sorry, Sarah.
It's all right.
It's Sarah's name. Sarah's name with my typo.
Oh, no. It's okay. Haunted by the Abyss, my first book by Llewellyn, had so many fucking errors. And I even had an editor and had to pay him a lot of money. So it happens. So it's fine. The Virgo in me is like, it's fine. Anyway, Monday is March 7th. It's going to be a new day. All those little errors online that last forever and never go away. Ever. It's fine. Monday's a new day. And the moon will be in Taurus. Calm and comfortable. Feeling finally out of the fucking Pisces space and into Earth. And conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Hey. Winona Ryder, also in Earth energy. Moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus in Taurus on Monday. What does it mean?
It's not going to be very chaotic, but I don't know if it's going to be very constructive. So this is kind of cool because this is like that. It said stable and indulgent, but Uranus is rebellious because it rules Aquarius. So it's still that rebellious energy and that kind of curveball out of left field. So I've said earlier in this show that it's like rebelling by not doing anything. So it's like I'm going to rebel by not doing what I'm supposed to do, but emotionally I'm going to feel okay with it. So this is like, you're not going to even be conflicted at this. I should be up there. I mean, it's too early to be cutting the grass. I don't know. I should be helping do the dishes, or I should be, helping do something else. But I'm just going to sit here, and Pepper's not on here for me to use my pizza analogy all the time. But I'm just going to sit here and eat a bunch of pizza and just hang out. And I'm not even going to feel guilty about my passive aggressive rebellion on Monday. I'm going to feel totally fine about just doing whatever the hell I want to do.
And that's great.
Remember, it's rebellion by not doing. Not rebellion by doing.
It makes me think of Anne Rice.
No, she may have froze again.
At the Tipton Dunce when she was just a little kid. She was playing the part with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. Ooh, I bet that's weird now that I know the things that I know. And she was keeping those dead bodies in her bed. Ew. And then Tom Cruise came in and he found the dead bodies of the girls, or of the girl that she was keeping. And he comes in, he yanks her arm and he goes, "There's a corpse in your bed. You need to get rid of it." And she looks at him. The best line in the whole movie by her. And she goes, "You get rid of it." It's the best line in the whole movie. Her little curls bounce and everything. And I feel like that is what I'm seeing. No guilt. Passively not doing. I'm not doing that. You do it. You do it. It just and it's going to be, it doesn't have to be that conflicting. But in a macro way, when you see that there's going to be some fire, some Aquarius going on over here, and then on the teetering end of that, whatever. How do you feel? How is this going to be predicting the macro micro space of what's going on in our world?
Ah, man. I'm torn here because I feel like what I want to have happen versus what I just feel like. I feel like on Monday there's something out there that should be done. And I'm not sure what this is going to be because a lot's going to depend on, because I think Wednesday and Thursday are going to be so chaotic that the world on Monday is going to look very, very different. That to even try to predict this is going to be off. But I really feel like there's something that really should happen and get done on Monday that's just not. And I feel like there'll be a cost to that inactivity, whatever that's going to be. Whether it's, jump in to save somebody and we don't, and then it looks really bad later, or
Whitley Strieber speaks to this in his book, The Key. We are killing off the future generations of those who hold the answers to our security and our knowledge. And
or it could even be a opening is given to get out of this whole thing, and out of stubbornness, it's just screw you, no, and then it gets much worse the next day. Like I'm not sure exactly which way this plays out, but I feel like there's going to be an opportunity to do something, and it's not going to be taken, and there's going to be a cost for us not doing it.
Man, I hear Natalie Imbruglia. Nothing's right, I'm torn. You know that song?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do that because both I can't remember the words and copyrights. I'm just not sure of the limits. That song, so beautiful. I feel that song, or even like Criminal by Fiona Apple. I'm getting that like cool, sexy chick, rebellious kind of vibe, like the emo. Some girls were emo in that stage, and then you had the Fiona Apples. I might have been a Fiona Apple. I never ever dyed my hair black. I just wouldn't. But that like beautiful space of I don't care vibe, but you do care, but you don't care, but like I don't care. But is it going to be an ego? We'll know on Tuesday.
Total sidebar. Not that I'd say like I'm a fan, because it's obviously not my kind of music overall, but I will say Shadow Boxer, I think, is one of like the greatest songs. I absolutely love that song. One of the best songs ever.
Beep. Well, high five. Absolutely.
But
dang it.
The Russians don't want you giving music commentary.
Why can't I like things? Internet? I can't give a virtual high five. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. You're back.
Dang. They keep like, yeah, I'm not allowed to apparently recommend good music. Okay, whatever. Tuesday, March 8th. It'll be a week from today. We'll be time travelers. It's true. It's true. The moon enters Gemini. It's no longer your moon. Now it's in Gemini. But what does that mean? Maybe it's someone else's moon. What does it mean for the rest of us?
Gemini is the social butterfly sign. It's air. It's extroverted air. It's going to be, it's also, I always go to the path less, the two paths, which path are you going to, the twins, but I always look at it as like two paths. Which way am I going to take? And I don't know which way I'm going to take. So I'm going to mentally try to sort out which path I'm going to take by talking to everybody about it. So this is like that energy of I'm going to do my mental process by bouncing it off and talking to everybody about it. So this is lots of verbal, externally extroverted energy. This is talking. So this is going to all of a sudden be Tuesday. People are going to want to reach out and talk about stuff that's emotionally bugging them. So this is, I expect you will get lots of phone calls, texts, emails, people wanting to talk about stuff that bother them. This is a really chaotic week. So everybody's going to want to talk about it now by Tuesday. Or they're going to feel guilty because they know they should have done that thing on Monday and they didn't. So now I feel really horrible about it. So now I'm going to want to call and like rehash this with you. Should I have done it? Shouldn't I have done it? Should I have done it? Shouldn't I have done it? And that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's such a powerful space. This Gemini, often the two-face, I'm thinking of like, not Thanos, which is what my brain wants to say, but Janus. Different two-faced spaces, two-faced often having a negative connotation, but the ability to have two perspectives, the ability to see both sides. It is that no man's land. It is that purgatory at often spaces, allowing you to make a decision with both paths being somewhat defined or illuminated for you. So take in the information, don't make a decision. Take in the information, don't judge, don't feel, don't too much of any of that gunk. Write it down. Think of how to utilize communication energy, record it, write it down, ask questions, ask where the source is. I mean, if you want to stir the pot, you can go, oh my God, and how did that make you feel? And you kick it back into water and it'll just, because people will lose their shit. Or you can encourage people to go, you know what? Regardless of how it makes us feel, what we know is like you're testing, it's discernment, really. And it's communicating in a way that supports a focus and supports a future and supports a healthy growth, a loving space. So hopefully you're able to utilize some of this energy, this guidance, this astrological constellation towards the path of righteous onward way laid places of awesomeness. I don't know. Use it how you want. How do you use it, Matt?
Well, I'm an eternally tired dad of quadruplets that's kind of socially isolated. So I will probably turn my phone on silent on Tuesday. So that
martyrdom of self.
As much as I want to be supportive, because I am truly a kind person, even though I probably try to come off like I'm not, I'll probably try to avoid being somebody else's sounding board. So, I don't know. I'll try to give people grace. I mean, I really do. I really will. But I'll have to really. I'll probably save up my energy for Tuesday, knowing that I'll probably hear from a lot of people on Tuesday wanting to be sounding boards. Wanting to use me as a sounding board, I should say. So, Tuesday. And just realize that again. I'll just tell understand these things are going on. Understand kind of where people's heads are on this stuff, and just try to count to 10 and give people some slack. The world's gotten a lot. I think the world's gotten a lot crueler the last year or two, and I think we all need to give people more slack.
And know where the slack ends, except Putin and his prostate. and that we know where the lines end and how much slack is there, and not to have like an Inigo Montoya moment where you're like, come on already. It's like, could you help me up then? Well, you really want me to help you up just so I can kill you? And it's like, well, then you'll have to just wait. Like we have to really utilize our time that we have left, our time that we are given, our time that we are blessed with, and use it to the best of our ability. And hopefully this information helps you guide your way in a positive space. And so we do hope to see you next Tuesday. Be sure and share the show. Tag a friend. Join us online. Message us if you would like a private reading. Matt does amazing astrological readings and birth charts. I myself can do readings. We do them together. Isn't it true, Matt?
Yes.
It's true.
You get a really cool, like, kind of yin and yang and different styles if you do the combo one. It's kind of cool. Gives you a bigger, broader picture because everybody's got kind of different ways that they look at stuff.
And we're not just saying that because it's us and we know that we're cool and we're, just saying it. I mean, it is actually cool and people will tell you so. And we didn't pay them to say that. So it's not like the Boys to Men coming back around selling you Pepto-Bismol is what we're trying to tell you. It's not going to give you heartburn. It might just help you with no adverse side effects other than excitement. So use it as you will. Join us next Tuesday. Put us on your schedule. Listen to Odyssey Radio. Search it on your apps that you're listening to your podcasts for, and we'll be posting more about that on our social media. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Astrology and Alchemy with Paranormal Sarah and Matt Slosier.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.